Alexander, the son of Aristobulus, who was beheaded. Well, anyway, Josephus goes into great detail about this. That's all in your chapter 2. And then he comes with the fact that at the end of chapter 2, this Antigonus is executed by Mark Antony. How come Mark Antony has any power here? Well, by this time, Caesar has been assassinated. Octavian, Caesar's nephew, and Antony originally ally themselves to fight Caesar's assassins, the Senate and so on, Brutus, Cassius, etc. And then they divide the empire up. Octavius cultivates the Senate again and changes his name to Augustus the Great. And Antony goes east because he wants Caesar's girlfriend, Cleopatra. You know, Caesar has a child by Cleopatra. It's all in that Rome series. What's that child's name? Caesarion. And why do we use the word Caesarion today? Oh, because we call it Caesarean section to give birth in this manner where you're not giving the natural birth. That's how he was born, apparently. So that's why to this very day we commemorate his name by calling our medical procedure Caesarean section. His name, that was Cleopatra's son by Caesar. When he was about 13, Antony was defeated. Cleopatra fled the naval battle, I forget where it was, off the coast of Greece. Was it Actium? At Actium off the coast of Greece. She fled back to Alexandria. He broke and followed her, and then I forget how he was killed on the way to her palace or something, and then she committed suicide and so on. But Caesarion hadn't died yet, and Octavian got him. Ultimately, she wanted to do everything to save Caesarion, but Octavian got him and he disappeared. Thrown down a well someplace or killed. Anyway, he was taken out of the picture. So in chapter 3 then, Antigonus is still going on here. He's not dead yet, but he has the support of the Persians and so on. Well, I can't go through this whole thing here except to get to the one section where Herod finally returns after the people rise up on Antigonus' side and the Persians come in, and this is the 30s because of the Roman, this is the 40s and the 30s because of the Roman Civil War that's going on. And Herod goes to Rome, gets Augustus' support this time, the way his father got Caesar's support 20 years before. This is in the 37 BC period. He goes to Rome. This is in this chapter, I guess it's chapter 3 or chapter 4 here. And once again, the people resist. And if you look at the antiquities, the Pharisees want to open the gates to Herod the same way they wanted to cooperate with Pompey and so on and so forth. But once again, the people don't do this. And so finally Herod storms the city with Roman soldiers' help. A fellow called Sosius, who he came there with. And then at the end of this chapter, he's master of Palestine, and he, he beautifies all these architectural things, starts having Olympic Games, all this sort of stuff. But that's 37 BC, when Herod storms the temple. Now, just a final summation of that before we stop. In the first place, Pompey also stormed the temple. But he tells you in the Jewish War that he didn't, as we did mention last time, he didn't touch anything in the temple. He went in, looked at the treasure, but he wanted to conciliate the people, and he wanted Hyrcanus to be the high priest. He'd made a deal with him, so he didn't touch anything. When Herod storms the temple, he too doesn't want to offend the people because he wants to try to conciliate them in some way. So he pays his army, because the normal thing was the army would plunder the city. he pays the army, according to Josephus, out of his own pocket and doesn't disturb the temple. Now, the Dead Sea Scrolls definitively say that the Kittim came or were coming and were going to or did plunder the temple and take all of the booty and so on and so forth. So I think it is pretty clear from the scrolls, and we'll do that when we look at the scrolls after this test here. It's pretty clear from the scrolls that this can't be the time of Pompey. It can't be 63 BC. It can't be Herod, 37 BC. It has to probably be 66 to 70 AD later on. That's a big dating problem for all the people working on the Dead Sea Scrolls. But I think it is comprehensible. And the one document that talks about this, which document is it? A document called Habakkuk Pesher, which I've done a lot of work on. I will do a lot of work on it with you afterwards. Habakkuk Pesher, Habakkuk Commentary. Makes it clear that the last priests of Jerusalem were destroyed and that the temple and its treasure were given over to the army of the Kittim. Were given over to the army of the Kittim. So we'll look at that. Code next time. Now, before we take a break and you